This debate gets heated fast as Nigel Farage's controversial housing proposal sparks a fierce clash. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Watch as Len May defends the policy, while Matt Stadlin pushes back with a series of sharp challenges.
Do you think it's outrageous?
No, I don't. I'd actually disagree, and I support his fundamental principle. What I don't support is the 3 months. It's not realistic. Many people have lived here for a long time and actually only have British citizenship now, and you're not allowed to leave people stateless. But this whole idea, you cannot go to other countries and not be citizens and just expect social housing.
But
in the world, we would like to house everybody across the world that is deemed as a refugee. We are a small country, we have limited housing stock, and at present, we have 1.3 million people waiting to be housed.
Sure.
Now, the reason why British people are pushed to the back of the list is because questions that councils ask, do you have any friends and family you could stay with? If someone doesn't know the system and says yes, meaning they can stay on a friend's sofa, they are pushed to the back of the queue. A person with refugee status who has no one will be bumped up to category A, and they will get social housing. So why would somebody who is a British citizen, doesn't matter, irrespective of colour, this is not about race, British citizenship, who has been paying taxes, waiting on the council list for over 10 years, will not be able to get housing because we allow around 48,000 nearly every year to have refugees.
I've just got to push back on this. Now, I've got to push. This is really serious stuff. First of all, we say it's not about colour.
No, it's not.
Nigel Farage's own words.
I'm brown. I'm a British citizen.
No, you may well be. There are lots of brown people in this country. Nigel Farage's own words. Anti-white racism was embedded into the state. So he's talking about skin colour. And let's be absolutely clear, because I don't think the penny has dropped yet. There may well be a conversation to be had about how you house people moving forward. And of course, we have responsibilities to everybody in this country once you are allowed in this country. We were not somewhere like India where you have people lining the streets as you move from the airport into Mumbai. We're a civilised country. And yes, there is a shortage of houses, but what we do not do as a response to that is to point over there and say foreigners. And as I say, he's talking about people who may have been in this country for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, many of whom will have paid into society, if not all of whom, and he's going to rip them out of their homes, He's ripping them out of their homes, and he's saying, if you don't go and find somewhere else 3 months, we may deport you. How dare this man say it is spectacularly anti-British? How dare he say that he is going to rip families out of their homes who've been here for many years, some of them, and say, sorry, we may deport you. This is outrageous.
No, but Hillingdon Council are wrongly evicting English people out of their homes to give our homes to immigrants. It's completely wrong.
Sure. I don't know the particulars of that case, but when you say giving them to immigrants, are these people who are refugees who had their asylum accepted?
No, they're not refugees. They're not. They're not.
All right.
So let me ask Debbie. I'll ask you straightforwardly, because I don't think you heard or grasped what I was saying, I'm afraid. And this is an unbelievably important issue. This is policy coming from the mouth of a man who wants to be our next Prime Minister. Are you in favour of someone who has lived in social housing for 10, 15 years, or lived in this country for 10, 15, 20 years, who finds themselves in social housing, and then Nigel Farage comes along and says, out you go, mate, and you go and find your own housing in 3 months, otherwise you might be deported, even though you've lived here for 20, 30 years. Are you in favour of that, Debbie?
Yes, I am, because wrongly they evicted English families out of their home to put them into our homes.
I just don't believe you. I'm sorry. And even if they've done that, and if they had done that, which would obviously be totally wrong, it doesn't justify what Nigel Farage is saying he wants to be reform policy if they become government. It's just despicable.
No, it's not. Nigel Farage isn't a racialist. The immigrants are taking over our country.
Kenny in West Sussex, what's your take on this incredibly divisive issue?
Yeah, it is a very divisive issue, but I actually agree with Nigel Farage. We've got people on the streets everywhere. I'm originally from Northern Ireland. You've people on the streets. I live in West Sussex now. You've got people on the streets, people begging. When you get out at Croydon, I work up there. You've got people begging, who are wrapped in a blanket. They should be housed before people coming into the country.
And your answer to that, Kenny, is to take more people and put them on the streets effectively, or deport them, even if they've lived in this country for 10, 15, 20 years. What an astonishing conclusion to draw from the misery that you've just said you've witnessed.
No, I strongly believe that the homeless people, exactly, and children growing up here that are British, totally, they should get the housing before people that have come in later.
What about moving forward then?
Kenny, thank you. I mean, go on, Lynn.
Well, what about, Matt, you seem to be concentrating on ripping people out of their homes, and I get that. And that's why I said I don't agree with the 3 months.
That's Farage's policy.
But let's say he was to say people now on who come in this country, if they're here they may get a year to stay in temporary accommodation, but permanent council or social housing should go to British people first. Would you be in acceptance of that?
Once people are in this country, we have a certain responsibility to them. The way in which we work out who gets social housing is obviously important. The government's policy, literally their policy, is to stop the boats. It's to stop irregular and illegal immigration. But once we've allowed people in, we can't just pretend that we don't have any responsibility. That said, as Alexis has already pointed out, there are already in place limits on the access to various forms of welfare, including, I believe, housing, that people who come to this country have access to.
OK, I've got to leave it there because we've run out of time.
And there you have it. This debate showed just how divided opinions are on housing and immigration. One side argued for stricter policies, while the other warned they don't solve the real problem. Who do you think made the stronger case? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more political breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.